So, what's our crisis? Global warming, climate change is our crisis. Okay? Global warming, climate change. It's really serious. The planet is in danger. This is what you'll hear. Biodiversity is threatened. The planet is heating up. The oceans are acidifying. You're going to need a snorkel to get out of bed in 100 years. So, this is really serious. Panic, chaos, collapse. You get that sense that things are really, really about to happen, that if you don't do something soon, if you don't do something quick, your life is going to be in danger. That kind of panic, that kind of sense of chaos is essential for communitarian rule, because it requires you not to be able to think clearly and to merely act or be acted upon. So I'll tell you, in our local newspaper, I'll give you an example of what it looks like. Here it is. It's hard to deny that the Earth is functioning well over capacity. Like an overworked horse, it's simply a matter of time before the global organism collapses. Right? You feel that? Feel that panic? Feel that? All intelligent people agree that it's our fault. Your greedy, wasteful, selfish ways have made this happen, and we have almost destroyed the planet. But here comes the UN to the rescue. Right? Here it is. We're going to save the planet. In 1987, the United Nations World Commission on Environment and Development, the Brundtland Commission, came up with a book. It's called Our Common Future. Now, I know that all of you have probably heard the term sustainable development now, right? You know what sustainable development is. It's development that's sustainable or something like that, right? Must be a good thing. You don't want to be unsustainable, do you? So, what people don't realize who are talking about sustainable development is that it came from the United Nations World Commission on Environment and Development in 1987. That is where the term was coined and defined. And what it is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. Well, that sounds good, doesn't it? I mean, who would not want to make sure that future generations would not be able to meet their needs, right? I mean, here we are in one of the original 13 colonies. Do you think they, landed here in 16 whatever and said, let's do whatever we can to make sure that those people in 2012 won't be able to meet their needs? Nobody was thinking like that, and we aren't. But here we go. We have development that meets the needs of the present and compromises the ability of future generations to meet their needs. That's what the UN said, is that everything we're doing now is indeed compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. And they said to the Brundtland Commission, can you come back in 5 years and bring us the action plan for dealing with sustainable development? And that's what they did. Here it is. This is Agenda 21, the United Nations Program of Action from Rio. It's 300 pages, it's 40 chapters. You can get it yourself, un.org, $25, and take a look at it. It itself is the green mask. Many things in it look nice, but remember, it is an inventory and control plan, and that is what it is designed to do. It covers every aspect of your life. So the Secretary General, Maurice Strong, at the time, he said, he was the chair of the Brundtland Commission. He told the UN what was considered to be unsustainable. The affluent middle-class lifestyle that you either enjoy or aspire to is considered to be unsustainable. Single-family residences, private vehicles, appliances, air conditioning, livestock, dams, tillage are considered to be unsustainable. They're considered to be a threat to the planet. Now what we're looking at is the 3 pillars. This is part of Agenda 21. You'll see this a lot of places. You're going to see social equity, the environment, and ecology. No, the environment and economics. Social equity, the environment, and economics. And this is the logo of Agenda 21. You're going to see it as these 3 circles, right? It kind of looks, it's a Venn diagram. It looks like a piece of the Olympic symbol, right? It's 3 circles that cross, and where they meet in the center, that's totally sustainable. That's where everything's in balance. Okay, it looks like this. I don't know if you can see it. It's 3 circles. Now, you're going to see that. I'll show it to you in another place in a minute. So what you're looking at is social equity, which means that no one has any more than anyone else, in balance with the economy and the environment. This plan involves economics, housing, transportation, land use, health, water, energy, food production, and population control. China has their own Agenda 21 plan. They were one of the signatories. They are working on a sterilization vaccine with the United States. So Agenda 21 is dependent on the precautionary principle. It's principle number 15. And you gotta think about this for a minute. Because if you're thinking, let's say you're a skeptic about something like climate change or global warming, and you say, well, I've got 10 scientists over here that say that, no, I have 20, no, I have 100, no, I've got 1,000, well, I've got 30,000, no, I have 60,000. Doesn't matter, because of the precautionary principle. And what that says is that if an action or a policy has a suspected risk of being harmful to the public or the environment, in the absence of scientific consensus that it is harmful, it falls on the party wishing to take the action to prove that it is not harmful. How's that, huh? You're guilty until proven innocent. Now, in the European Union, they use that to make law. In the United States, we call it the precautionary approach, and it only makes policy. But it is having an impact on your life right now. So, as I said, it's a global plan, but it's implemented locally. And you're going to see it as, you'll see it in many ways locally, but you're going to see the terms capacity building, you'll see strengthening communities, you're going to see consensus building, vibrant, walkable, bikeable, green, sustainable, conversation, transformation, change. All of these terms are jargon terms that were designed just for you. So in 1992, the Rio Earth Summit, Bush and 179 other world leaders signed it. And then in November of 1992, Clinton was elected. So about 6 months later, he took office in January, and about 6 months later in June, he created the President's Council on Sustainable Development. And that was tasked with implementing United Nations Agenda 21 in the United States. That is exactly what it was tasked with doing. So the first thing that they did was they gave a multi-million-dollar grant to the American Planning Association, because you're going to see this as a land use plan, primarily. It will come into your town as part of your comprehensive plan, your master plan, as a scenic byway, as some element of climate action plan. You will see it as a restriction on your use of land. So how does that happen? The American Planning Association was given a multi-million-dollar grant by the President's Council on Sustainable Development. And that was made up of 12 cabinet-level federal agencies, including HUD, EPA, the Department of Education, Department of Energy, Transportation, Defense, Interior, Now, their job was to implement Agenda 21 administratively and change their policies so that they were in alliance with Agenda 21. That happened. The federal agencies, the main federal agencies of the United States, brought their policies into alignment with Agenda 21. But they said, no, we want to make sure this gets into every city, county, and state across the entire United States. It's not enough to have it just be federal. So they gave that grant to the American Planning Association to come up with a book so that they could get these policies into every single municipality. And they did that. This is the cover of it. It's a 12-pound book, so I didn't bring it with me. 12 pounds, 2 volumes. It's called Growing Smart, Legislative Guidebook with Model Statutes for Planning and the Management of Change. Now this book has exactly what it says it has in it, model statutes. When you go into your planning department or you see your city is instituting new policies, new statutes, new laws, new restrictions on your land use, they're coming out of this book. Your planning department isn't writing these. They're coming out of this book. So one thing that happened was, well, growing smart is smart growth. When you see that term smart growth, this is where it's from. So they said, we're going to get this out all across the United States. We're going to have it in every single university, every college. If you want to be a planner, you're going to study this book. They said, the United States people, the people of our country, they might not like it when they find out that they've been manipulated. So we need to have them think that this is all their plan. We need them to think that this is their idea. So they came up with another book, and it's called Sustainable America, A New Consensus. Now you know what consensus is, right? Consensus means that if we all get together, this big group, and we decide that we want to work on an issue, we're going to stay in a room and we're going to talk about it, and everyone's going to be heard until we come to an agreement. Consensus is agreement by all parties on a plan. Agreement of all parties. But the new consensus from the President's Council on Sustainable Development, the new consensus is neutralization of the opposition. Neutralizing your enemies. This is a commutarian technique. Neutralizing the opposition. So you'll see it when you go into a visioning meeting. You're going to go to Vision 2020, Your Town 2035. You'll see it at Granite State Future, Plan New Hampshire. You're going to come on down, give us your opinion on this new plan for the center of your city. And you go in there, got little tables set up. Oftentimes it's in an elementary school. So you got your knees up against the top of the desk and you're feeling kind of little. You got your crayons, you got your gold stars. They do their presentation and you're supposed to put your gold stars on whatever you think is a good idea. The way these work is, do you like it, and do you like it a real lot? It's not, what do you think about this plan? Should there be a plan? Is this necessary? Is there a way to stop this plan? Is there anything that we could do to stop this plan? And I'll tell you what, there isn't, because they are using the Rand Corporation mind control technique called the Delphi technique. Now the Delphi technique was developed in the 1950s by the Rand Corporation, and the sole purpose of this is to bring groups of people to a predetermined outcome while giving them the idea, the sense that it was all their idea. This is your plan. That's what it's about. So what do? They use manipulation. They use commutarian techniques where if you don't like that plan, they will shame you, they will embarrass you, they will call you out. They will take your idea, put it on a big piece of paper up at the front, and throw it out later. That's the Rand control, the mind control technique, the Delphi technique. You can anti-Delphi these meetings, and we tell you how to do this, and it's very effective, and people are doing it now all across the country.
GrokTV.